Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to talk about Minilab 3. This video is going to be a tutorial, and most importantly I'm going to point out the key features of Minilab 3 which was not in Minilab 2. So let's get started here. Obviously you have the controllers on it. You have 4 faders, 8 knobs, and there's additional knob here. You have shift, hold, octaves, strips, and the keys, of course, 25 keys, velocity sensitive, but they're not aftertouch, and also you have 8 pads. The only one thing that I missed in Minilab 2 is the keyboard feel itself. Although they're very similar, I can say like 90-95% identical, but I just found out the sensitivity part, the velocity curve settings, that how it was playing on Minilab 2 was slightly better than this. But when I tweaked around a little bit in the MIDI control center for the velocity curve, now I have a slightly better feel on it. Anyways, but that wasn't just a deal breaker anyways. So let's talk about the key features here. So the very first thing, let's go over the pads here. The pads have some different type of moods. And the very first mood is when you hold shift, your entire pads become transport controls. Of course, this last 5. And these 3 are different things. And this cannot be changed in any ways. You cannot customize those type of features with the holding the shift. No matter what type of template you do, when you hold a shift, this is the layout of those pads they're going to be. So you would have these default transport controls, and you're going to have these 3 blue, the first pads, which I'm going to go over them momentarily. So here you have the loop, stop, play, record, tap, and these are basically going to be working on DAW mood. So the other thing here is these blue pads, the first one has the arpeggiator feature, you probably know by now, and then the second one is the pad banks. So you have 2 types of banks on your pads. You have the A and B, and then in the Minilab 2, if you recall, there was this pad. When you hold, instead of holding, you press this, you have different toggling between A and B. So this is the same as that, but it's on the pad itself instead of being a separate dedicated button for it. So when you hold and then press the pad, now you have the A-B setup for the pads. It will change. And then you go back to the bank B or A, whichever you want. The first one is arpeggio. This second one changes the banks of the pads. And the third one is the program. This is where you toggle between your custom templates. So when right now I'm on a DAW mode, and I go, there is the iPad setting, I have my custom, and there's another user, custom user 2, for example, another setup of my MIDI controller, which is for Cubase actually. And then another one is the Arturia, that's specifically for Arturia VST instruments, and you go back to DAW. So this is how the pads are set up. So you have, when you hold a shift, you have this configuration that cannot be changed, and then when you leave that shift, release the shift, you have different setup, and that part, of course, you can change it based on your templates. I do miss one thing when the Minilab 2, when each pad was recalling a different template, and it was much faster situation than toggling between different templates here until you get there. But I do understand that now this one has different additional features where the Minilab 2 didn't have. So that is completely understandable. So let's talk about this knob here. So this knob is interesting as well. So the very first thing is this knob. Of course, you can send different MIDI CC notes when you turn it around. The second thing is when you click on it, you can also send a different MIDI note. And then when you hold shift and rotate, that will become a different setup configuration to send completely different MIDI note. And when you hold shift and click, also it's another configuration. So you could trigger 4 different MIDI messages with this knob. All right, so let's talk about the entire controls. The cool thing is, of course, and this was true also in Minilab 2, where each individual knob has its own configuration, meaning that you can configure what MIDI channel you want, or if it's going to be triggering a note, or it's going to be triggering CC or MC, program change. And then you can just really dive deep on individual control, and you can just completely do something else with each one. So they don't all have to be CCs, they don't all have to be program changes. And this is something really important and nice. In Arturia always makes the controls pretty much in this way. The other important feature, nice feature, is that you can just toggle MIDI channel of the keyboard on the fly. However, there is really a great feature on this, is that for the entire controls that you have, every single ones, you can set it up in a way that the MIDI channels of each relates to the keyboard MIDI channel. So the knobs and the faders, let's say, instead of selecting the MIDI channel you want for each, you select within the MIDI center, the editor, you select the MIDI channel to be the keyboard itself. So, but that will be a great benefit, because when you toggle the MIDI channel right from here, that means I selected the 3 now, and then all of the knobs and controls could send the same exact CCs and messages and whatever messages they programmed with, but except that they're going to send on MIDI channel 3 now, and then MIDI channel 4 now, and so on and so forth. And that would be really a great feature, because it will open up like whole another level of controlling different instruments for you. All right, so this is pretty much it. I think I pretty much covered everything. And if I miss anything, please feel free to comment in the video and I would get back to you. And thanks for watching.